for saying yes to tuning into the Yes Life. I am Yes Jess, and today I have a very, very special guest in the studio. I kind of think he's a celebrity. He's actually a celebrity in my eyes. Chris, he is the founder of MyIntent, these bracelets that are creating a positive change in the world, and they're being used as like a catalyst for conversation. So thank you for saying yes to being my second guest on the Yes Life show.
Thank you for having me. This is wonderful.
So if people don't know about MyIntent, tell them the story behind the brand.
Oh, I'd love to have them experience it.
Okay.
So I'd love to invite you at home to think about the one word that you want to remind yourself of to be your best.
Okay.
You know, and we have some questions that can help you find that word.
Okay.
So the first question would be, think about a virtue that you want more of.
Okay, virtue you want more of.
Like a quality, right? If you
Right.
think about someone you admire, think about what it is that you admire about them and what's the quality, whether it's they're kind, they're patient,
Confidence.
they're confident, they're
Okay.
generous. Think about that virtue.
Okay.
A second question we like to ask is, think about the biggest challenge in your life right now and what it would take to overcome that challenge.
Okay.
You know, maybe it's persistence, discipline, resilience.
Resilience, that's a good one.
You know,
Or like procrastination.
the opposite of that.
Yeah.
To just go do it.
Yeah, just say yes and just do it.
Yes. And the third question we like to ask is, think about what you want to do more of. Like, what's a passion you want to spend more time on?
Okay.
Maybe it's creating, maybe it's writing, it's singing. What makes you feel alive?
Right.
So between those, there should be plenty of words that are coming to you.
Yeah.
And then, you pick, some people go with one, some people go with multiple, like our previous guest.
Yeah, Liza was wearing like 5 bracelets.
Sometimes you have a lot of intentions and a lot of words. So, yeah.
Awesome. So what is the word that you said yes to?
This morning, I said yes to the word discipline.
Discipline. And
Yeah.
why?
It was, I just started listening to this thing called Fearless Motivation.
Okay.
It's the soundtrack, or I discovered it through Goalcast. If you watch enough Goalcast videos, you'll see at the end it says music by Fearless Motivation. So I went on Spotify, looked it up, and I did a workout yesterday listening to all that, and they had a chapter on discipline. I really thought that was powerful.
It resonated.
Yeah.
Cool. What
And
was
so
like the one takeaway?
It was just, if you want something, you got to work for it.
Yep.
And the people that are successful, that get to their dreams, actually, have the discipline to make it happen. It doesn't just happen.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're the founder of MyIntent. But going back, you worked for like Facebook and Pepsi and some really big names. So what was the moment where you decided to leave all that and say yes to starting this company?
It was end of 2011. I'd been at Facebook for about 4 years and just had this feeling that it was time to start something new, try something else, ready for a new adventure. And so I just had this feeling that it was time to start the new, next chapter. I didn't know what it was yet. It wasn't until almost 2 years later that this really came into fruition.
Really?
So it took a little while of exploration and trying different things.
Yeah.
But I knew I wanted to do something that was unique and something that made a difference, had an impact, and this is what came about.
Awesome. So how do you, what was the most challenging thing that you had to say yes to in your life that really made the biggest impact?
I mean, what made a huge difference for this project was me going to this week-long retreat called the Hoffman Process up in Napa.
Yeah.
And that was really intimidating. It was not something I necessarily wanted to do. Somebody had suggested it. And for months, I just put it off.
Yeah.
And finally, I was in a lot of just pain, I had gone through a heartbreak, a lot of, going through rejection.
Yeah.
And I think one of the lessons I've learned is, out of pain and out of discomfort is where a lot of growth lies.
Of course.
And that's where a lot of just, amazingness could be.
Yeah.
But you have to go through that, kind of the hard times.
Yep.
And I'm reminded of Malika Chopra has a book called Living with Intent. And she talks about how intentions are like the seed that gets put into the soil, and it's cold and it's dark and it's uncomfortable, but it's those conditions that make you want to germinate and pop out.
And grow.
And that's where intentions lie. Is a lot of times if you notice things that aren't fulfilling, that aren't working for you,
Right.
it's from those things that you come up with your next, intention. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I definitely believe that life begins outside your comfort zone, and that you sometimes have to hit rock bottom, or get your heart broken, or for me, like get dumped on national television, on The Bachelor, or like I lost my dad, my boyfriend, and my dog in 1 month. I mean, I was down in the dumps. But it's really through those challenging times that you are forced to say yes to something new. And I think that Liza and I were talking about it before, that sometimes you think your life is going down one path and then it goes down a completely different path. And you're like, yes, this is actually what I'm supposed to be doing. And I always say, like, if it's not a hell yes, then it's a no.
Yeah.
And as a founder of a big company that's really making a difference, I'm sure that you might feel the need to say yes to a lot, but how do you determine what to say yes to and what to say no to? Because saying no is just as powerful as saying yes.
Yeah. I think a lot of it is gut, it's intuition, and it's also trial and error.
Yeah.
It's like you try stuff and it didn't work, and you're like, yeah, that probably wasn't the right thing. And you look for things where you're getting momentum and it's working. And I always say you put out a lot of seeds and you see what germinates, because you don't really know like what ends up happening.
You put out a lot of seeds, or you're a lot of little intentions.
Yeah, and you kind of see, what resonates. Yeah, and what resonates in one period, in one chapter, may be different than what works later.
Right.
And so that's something I'm cognizant of as well, is like you don't have to do the same thing over and over.
Yeah. So right now, what is the season that you're in? What are kind of things that you're saying yes to and saying no to?
I think I'm saying yes to me personally. I think we just went through our busy season.
Yep.
And now I want to spend some more time on myself, more reading, more discipline about my health and just my own wellness.
Good.
So that's a big component of it. And then the other component is we have over 30,000 people that have bought our tools.
Wow.
To make bracelets for their loved ones.
Yeah.
And that's an area that I want to spend a lot more time on. Because in the past, when we started the project, it was all about people coming to our website and ordering a bracelet or two or 10 or 100 for their loved ones. But then we started offering the tools where they could make their own.
Yeah.
And that's a program that has some support, but we could go a lot deeper on helping them really experience the magic and use the tools in a way that's that maybe they hadn't thought of.
And shared in their own community.
That's exactly it. Yeah,
And
it's about community building and connections.
So on Sunday, thanks to you, I hosted a workshop called Master Your Morning, Master Your Life. And one of our activities was to discover what their word is. And we actually took it one step further and said, what is your verb? Because I love just taking action.
Absolutely.
And it was the most incredible exercise. So thank you for providing the kit and the bracelets. And I actually asked you to bring one into the studio.
Yep.
And I thought that we could show everyone who's watching right now just how easy and simple it is. But I think that the best part of the whole activity is really discovering what is your word.
Absolutely.
And those 3 questions that you started off with are great. Like what is one thing that maybe is challenging you, or you want more of, or you want to wake up and be reminded of every single day on your wrist?
Yes.
So yeah, that's awesome. I'd love to. Yeah, bring it out. Let's see.
What,
Let's see the magic
What can we
happen.
make for you?
Well, so over the weekend, my word was ignite.
Okay.
Because I really want to help ignite the light in people. I want to always ignite that the light in myself.
Do you want some color, or do you want to go?
Ooh, maybe I'll do black, because I'm wearing black today.
Okay.
So these are the infamous.
Do you want the black gold, black silver?
Gold black.
Okay. We have rose gold too.
Yay! Okay, so I have my ignite. I want to do another word. Maybe we should do, because it's the yes life, maybe say yes.
Okay. Do you want a necklace? We could put something on a necklace too.
Oh, sure.
If you want to, have you thought about what you want on?
Oh, okay.
On wear?
Maybe. Gosh, so many words I need to think of.
Do you want to look down on your wrist and see ignite, or do you want to see yes?
I want to see maybe on my necklace I'll do a say yes.
Okay, and so you want to ignite on your.
On my.
Okay.
Yeah. So cool. So you've lately been saying yes to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a morning routine? Because I'm all about morning routines.
The focus right now for me is just getting enough sleep.
Oh, okay.
So actually letting myself sleep in a bit more than I probably normally would, because That's one of the best things that we can do for our bodies is just to get enough rest.
Rest.
Yeah.
So how many hours a night do you sleep?
I'm getting like 7 or 8.
That's good.
Yeah, so.
So these here are the letters, right?
Yep.
And then he's just banging them in.
I'm getting 1 letter at a time.
Bam. Whack
I'm doing it over the leg of the table, which is the best support.
So you don't break the table. So this is so cool. So you've said yes, you've done TED Talks. I mean, what was like that yes moment where you're like, okay, this movement is taking off?
There were a series of moments. So this is done.
Awesome.
Do you want it on your right?
Yeah.
Or
Thank
left?
you.
Okay.
Ignite. I'm going to ignite the light in people.
I
love that. Thank you.
And you want say yes on the other one?
Say yes, yeah. Put it on my hands. Keep it close to my heart. Say yes.
How did you think of this title and this name for the?
You know, I had a father who was just the most positive person ever, and he said yes to pretty much everything. And I actually think that the fact that he said yes to so many things, he didn't really slow down. He just kind of said yes to everything. He was this crazy entrepreneur. And then he was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and he was diagnosed too late, and he, lost his life way too early. And so I have always been yes, Jess. Like, I'm a spontaneous girl. I just say yes to everything. But over the years, I've learned that saying no is just as powerful as saying yes.
Yeah.
And that you have to be able to say no to things so that you can say yes to the things that really matter.
Absolutely.
And so I want people to live that yes life, and I want to empower them that if you are about to encounter a new opportunity or a new relationship and you feel anything contracting in your body, you need to listen to your gut because it's not meant to be. But if you feel you expanding and coming alive, then that opportunity or that relationship is meant to be. And that's what the yes life is.
Wow.
Is when you have no doubt in your gut that this is just what I'm supposed to do. Like you light up when you make this. I feel like this is your yes life. And I want people to experience the yes life and not just the life.
There you are.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good.
So say yes. Oh my gosh, I love that. Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.
Okay, so you were saying, so what was like your yes moment where you're like, this is taking off?
Moments like this.
Aww.
Moments where I get to hear what people are excited about and
Yeah.
What lights them up. Because that energy comes back. And so I've had, a lot of moments like this. Do you need help?
You've had what, celebrities?
I've had, celebrities, I've had friends, family, strangers, people on Instagram. I remember one of the first ones that caught my attention was someone that just got the word live, and she posted on Instagram. This is like when we had launched the website like a month later. She said, I got the word live as a reminder, for someone who has suicidal tendencies that I've chosen to live.
Oh, I love that.
And so I remember that that was definitely one moment. There was another moment. I made this for a guy. He wanted the word 15, and I asked him what that meant. He said it's because I'll be sober in January for 15 years.
No way! Oh my God, that just gave me the goosies.
So a series of stories like that that have just kept it going, one after the next. It's kind of neat because you never know what someone's going to share, and
I love hearing those stories that just really
about your father,
So cool. And just like you said, it's going down those tough times or getting your heart broken that you really discover what you're meant to say yes to and what is your yes life.
Yeah.
So cool. So you said that some new things that you're saying yes to are, and what are some new things the company's saying yes to?
It's mostly focused on the makers.
Yeah.
So we're thinking about how do we, because a lot of the makers, they've gotten this originally for the holidays to do as an activity over Thanksgiving, over Christmas break. And we're wanting to provide ideas for them to do it throughout the year. There's a million ways that you could use this. You could make it for your barista. You could make this for your child's teacher. You could make this for just, it's like a random act of kindness.
Yeah.
So we're giving them inspiration to continue the magic throughout the year.
And what do you think it means to, like, when you discover your word, what does it mean to, like, truly live out that word?
What does it mean to live out your word?
Like, have you heard people, maybe someone wrote something that they want to be more like, or they want to exude more of. Have you heard stories like, a few years later?
Yeah, I get a lot of stories about how they've sort of actually fallen apart at the right time, at the perfect time. I remember this manager of a popular restaurant club in Hollywood. He had gotten the word patience at an event, and I just assumed it was because he's dealing with such chaotic, situations with the staff and guests and whatnot. And then I ran into him a few months later in the parking lot across the street from the club, and he said, my bracelet fell off today, and today was the day I found out my girlfriend is actually moving down from North Cal. So it was just this cool moment because he had actually set the intention to be patient for her.
I love that.
So stories like that are, yeah.
That is so awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think that, it's like starting your day. Like, I start my day, I'm a big morning routine girl, and I love to start my day with an affirmation, what I'm grateful for, 3 things that would make today great. But I think that waking up and looking at your word, it'll set an intention for the day.
Absolutely. It's yet another tool for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not just that day, but your whole life, really.
Yeah.
Like now I have say yes around my neck and close to my heart. And so it'll just remind me to continue to say yes.
Absolutely.
And also, it's a great conversation starter. Like someone to say, so why discipline?
Yeah. And it reminds you to kind of go through the process again.
Yeah.
Yeah, to commit to it.
So if someone is wanting to, let's say, start a company kind of like you did from nothing, what are some tips that you would suggest?
I would say figure out the need in the world and what you're really trying to do versus just start a company for the sake of starting a company, but really think about
like the why.
Yeah, and what's the change that you want to see in the world. Like the change I wanted to see was more people connecting in person and more people having deeper conversations. And so this is a tool by which, that's happening, versus just starting a company for the sake of, having a company.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge one. And then just to continue to scale. One of the things that we focused on is we want to make it accessible, so we keep the price very affordable. So this is not like a, $200 piece.
Right.
It's something
so
that you can get.
A bracelet?
So you can get a bracelet on our website for like $20.
And then the kit?
And then the kit's around $100. It comes with a bunch of bracelets. You could get them as low as just a few dollars each. So imagine you're making a cup of coffee for someone. It's the same. We want it to be the same. We wouldn't think twice about buying a cup of coffee for someone. So we want it to be like you wouldn't think that much about making someone a bracelet. Right. Yeah.
I grew up, my dad collected gratitude rocks. And he traveled the entire world. And he would come home with these gratitude rocks that he would collect. And he would put them in little places that I wouldn't know. So like I would be looking at my purse and I'd be like, oh, Dad put another rock down there.
Does he write?
Sometimes he would write, and sometimes he would just, and every time I would see a gratitude rock, I would be reminded of my dad, but also what I'm grateful for.
Yeah.
And so I actually carried on the tradition. And so I now collect gratitude rocks, and mine are, I actually buy them on Amazon, but they're rose quartz because it symbolizes unconditional love.
Oh, wow.
And so all my friends, like I'll put them in my friends' pockets. Or
really?
Or
that's
leave
really
them
cool.
in cars. And they're always like, oh, Jess left another gratitude rock. But I think this is like another gratitude rock.
Yeah. It's another way to connect and put a seed out there.
Right. It's another way to, when you see it, you're reminded of what you're grateful for or what you want to resonate with that day.
Yeah.
Or it's a great way to just give someone a gift.
It's positivity.
Positivity.
It makes you feel good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for saying yes to joining me on my brand new show.
Thank you for having me.
I got Ignite and I have Say Yes. So where can they follow you and get bracelets themselves?
At MyIntent and at Chris Pan.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Do you have one last tip for people to say yes to?
Yeah, just take the time to do some reflection and think about what it is that you want to bring into each day, each moment.
Think about what is your word.
Yeah. Perfect.
Well, thank you so much. And I will see all of you guys in the next video. Bye.